Brooke Logan. The day felt heavy with dread. She stood alone in her office, gaping at the megacity beyond the glass, replaying every choice she had made. She had supported Rich. She had challenged Eric's leadership during his illness. She had believed she was guarding the company, guarding the man she loved. But now, with Eric restored and bent, she knew her position hung by a fragile thread. The door behind her creaked open. Brooke. She turned sluggishly to face Rich Forrester, his expression etched with concern. His generally confident posture sounded simulated, as if he were carrying the weight of two families on his shoulders. "He's calling an exigency superintendent meeting," Rich said still. "Right now." Brooke swallowed hard. "I know what this is about." Rich stepped closer. "You did what you allowed. Was right." "Did I?" she rumored. "Or did I just push too far again?" The return of a titan. The main conference room buzzed with expectation as directors took their seats. Contrivers, accountants, legal counsel all awaited in uneasy silence. At precisely 9 o'clock, the doors opened. Eric Forrester entered. Despite the fragility of his recent illness, his presence filled the room incontinently. His tableware hair was neatly trolled, his acclimatized suit immaculate. His eyes, sharp and commanding, swept across the gathered faces. He took his seat at the head of the table, folding his hands sluggishly. "Let's begin." The room fell hugely silent. Eric's aspect locked onto Brooke. There was no warmth there, only disappointment and restrained wrathfulness. "During my absence," Eric began, "opinions were made. Some necessary, others deeply deceived." He broke, letting his words sink by. "I trusted my family. I trusted this company. And I trusted you, Brooke." A murmur gurgled through the room. Brooke uncurled, summoning her courage. "Eric, everything I did was to cover Forrester Creations. I believed Ridge." "You believed Ridge," Eric intruded sprucely. "Not me." The sting of his words landed like a poke. "You sided against the man who erected this company," Eric continued. "You questioned my leadership. You undermined my authority. And worst of all, you convinced others to do the same." Ridge shifted uncomfortably. "Dad, she was trying to help." Eric raised a hand. "This is between Brooke and me." He turned back to her. "Brooke Logan, effective incontinently, your position as CEO is terminated." Gasps echoed around the room. Brooke sat, the words echoing in her cognizance. "Terminated. Fired. Finished." "Eric, please," she began, her voice pulsing. "I'm sorry," he said forcefully. "This company needs consanity, fidelity, and respect for its foundation. You crossed a line that cannot be ignored." Security approached discreetly, motioning the futurity of his decision. Brooke gathered her effects sluggishly, her hands shaking. As she walked toward the exit, decades of recollections flashed through her mind. Runways, boardrooms, marriages, backstabbings, triumphs. All of it now slipping down. She broke at the door, turning back one last time. "I loved this company," she said vocally. "And I loved you, Eric." For a brief moment, his expression softened but only slightly. "I know," he replied. "That's why this hurts." Also, she was gone. The fall. Brooke surfaced into the hallway, her legs weak beneath her. The formerly familiar corridors now felt cold and hostile. Workers avoided her eyes, doubtful whether to offer comfort or distance. In the elevator, she eventually broke. Gashes streamed down her face as she sank against the imaged wall. The doors slid shut, sealing her inside a pin of reflection and remorse. By the time she reached the lobby, shooters were formerly staying. "Brooke, is it true you've been fired? Did Eric kick you out? Is your relationship with Ridge over?" She pushed past them, her heart pounding, hopeless for escape. Ridge's reckoning. Ridge remained in the boardroom long after the others had left. "Was that really necessary?" he demanded once the room was empty. Eric exhaled deeply. "Yes. She stood by me. And in doing so, she turned her back on me," Eric replied. "I had to draw a line." Ridge ran a hand through his hair. "You've just shattered her life." "Maybe," Eric admitted still. "But leadership demands immolation. Indeed, when it breaks our hearts." A broken home. That evening, Brooke returned to her home, the silence unsupportable. Every room reminded her of battles fought and love lost. She sank onto her lounge, gaping blankly at the darkened TV screen. For times, her identity had been intertwined with Forrester creations. Without it, she felt untethered. Her phone buzzed. Rich. She dithered also answered. "I'm so sorry," he said vocally. "Are you?" she asked. "Or are you just sorry you didn't stop him?" Rich had no answer. "Eric destroyed my career moment," Brooke continued. "And you stood there and watched." "I couldn't challenge him," Rich said. "Not now. Not after everything." She closed her eyes. "Also perhaps there's nothing left for us to fight for." The line went dead. Eric alone. Late that night, Eric sat alone in his office, the megacity lights fluttering beyond the windows. Donna entered still, concern etched across her face. "You did what you believed was right," she said gently. "Did I?" he muttered, echoing Brooke's before words. He goggled at a framed snap of himself, Ridge, and Brooke from times past. The smiles in the picture felt like bones from another continuance. "I may have saved my company," he said, "but I sweat I've lost my family." Brooke's new path. Days passed. Captions faded. But the crack remained raw. Brooke spent hours walking along the sand, letting the ocean wind clear her studies. Sluggishly, a new resoluteness began to take hold. For decades, she had defined herself by her part at Forrester. Maybe it was time to rediscover who she was beyond that world. She began sketching again, commodity she hadn't done seriously in times. Designs poured from her mind, bold, elegant, unrestrained by commercial prospects. An idea formed. A new fashion house. One erected not on heritage, but on adaptability. The storm to come. Back at Forrester Creations, Eric rebuilt his conglomerate, but apprehension dallied. Rich plotted to concentrate, visited by guilt. And whispers circulated that Brooke Logan was preparing her comeback. Still, it would shake the assiduity if true. And Eric knew it. Because no matter how fiercely he tried to ramify ties, Brooke Logan was woven into the veritably fabric of his life and Forrester Creations itself. Ending reflection. In the ruthless world of fashion, fidelity and love frequently collide. Eric's decision to fire Brooke marked not just the end of a professional cooperation, but the shattering of decades-old bonds. Yet, in true cleaner pieces fashion, consummations are no way final, only the morning of new storms. Effective incontinently, your position is terminated. Those words had come a captivity. They trapped her in a cycle of wrathfulness, shame, heartache, and unbelief. For decades she had fought for Forrester Creations, offered connections, endured demotion, and survived innumerous dishonors, only to be cast away like a disposable mistake. Sluggishly, she rose from bed and walked to the deck. The megacity stretched endlessly before her. Nearly in those thoroughfares, people were chasing dreams, erecting patrimonies, starting over. Perhaps she should do the same. But pain still clung to her like a shadow. She poured herself coffee, her hands pulsing slightly. Her phone lay silent. No calls. No dispatches. No justifications. Not indeed from Ridge. Ridge torn between two worlds. At Forrester Creations, Ridge wandered through the design plant, slightly noticing the sketches projected to the walls. His studies remained fixed on Brooke, the pain in her voice, the disappointment in her eyes. Carter Walton approached precisely. "You okay?" Ridge let out a bitter laugh. "Do I look okay?" "You're distracted. The board is noticing." "Let them," Ridge snapped, also softened. I detest how this happened." "You could have fought harder," Carter said gently. Ridge gripped his jaw. "You suppose I don't know that?" He stormed into his office, slamming the door shut. The silence pressed in. He replayed the meeting again and again, searching for the moment he should have stood up, should have defended her, should have chosen love over fidelity. But in the world of Forrester men, fidelity to the conglomerate frequently overbalanced everything differently. Still, remorse eroded at him. Brooke's moment of collapse. Latterly that autumn, Brooke drove erratically through Los Angeles, her studies twisting. She pulled over at an overlook above the ocean and stepped out, letting the wind scourge through her hair. Memories swamped her mind, her early days at Forrester, falling in love with Ridge, the innumerous times she had been betrayed, lowered, forgiven, and redeemed. Her phone chimed. Hope flitted. Also she saw the name Steffi Forrester. She dithered before answering. What do you want? Brooke asked coldly. I wanted to make sure you heard the news, Steffi replied. Her tone was falsely sweet. What news? I've officially been appointed co-CEO. Brooke closed her eyes. The atrocity of it struck deep. Congratulations, she said flatly. You see, Brooke, this company eventually belongs to Real Forresters again. No more Logans pulling the strings. Brooke's voice hardened. Enjoy it while it lasts. Steffi scarfed. Oh, I will. The call ended. Brooke goggled at the ocean, fury kindling in her casket. For times she had been criticized, abominated, scapegoated. And now, she was anticipated to simply vanish. But she would end. The seed of vengeance. That night, Brooke sat in her study, sketchbook open before her. Designs poured from her imagination. Bold outlines, intrepid fabrics, daring colors. Each stroke of pencil felt like reclaiming a piece of herself. She rumored vocally, They suppose I'm finished. Her eyes hardened. They're wrong. She picked up her phone and telephoned a number she hadn't called in times. Hello, a familiar voice answered. Jackie, Brooke said. It's me. There was a pause. Also excitement. Brooke Logan, this must be serious. It is, Brooke replied. I want to make commodity new. Commodity important. Commodity that can take down Forrester Creations. Jackie Marone exhaled sprucely. You're talking about war. Brooke's lips twisted into a dangerous smile. Also, let's make it fabulous. Eric's unexpected guilt. Meanwhile, Eric sat alone in his office long after evening, gaping at fiscal reports he couldn't concentrate on. Brooke's face visited him, her shattered expression, her pulsing voice. Donna entered still. You haven't gone home. I do'n't feel like I earned to, Eric admitted. You did what you believed was right. But was it justice or pride? Eric rumored. Donna rested a hand on his shoulder. You're allowed to be mortal. Eric soughed. I spent my life erecting this conglomerate. But nearly along the way, I lost sight of the people who helped me make it. Donna dithered. Brooke was one of those people. Eric jounced sluggishly. And I may have just created my topmost adversary. The birth of a rival empire. Weeks passed. Rumors began circulating across the fashion assiduity. Brooke Logan was preparing a major comeback. Design houses buzzed with enterprise. Investors rumored. Buyers awaited. Also came the advertisement. Logan Designs incoming soon. The unveiling event was nothing short of spectacular. A storehouse in town Los Angeles converted into a satiny, ultramodern runway. Press swamped by. Celebrities lined the frontal row. Backstage, Brooke stood before a glass, sheathed in a sanguine power suit, her eyes blazing with determination. Jackie approached. They're all then. Good, Brooke replied. Let them watch. The show began. Model after model walked the runway, each piece more stunning than the last. The collection screamed confidence, independence, defiance. By the final walk, the followership erupted in applause. Brooke stepped out, head held high. Cameras flashed. Intelligencers surged forward. Brooke, is this your vengeance on Forrester Creations? She smiled calmly. This is my revitalization. Shockwaves at Forrester. When footage of the show reached Forrester Creations, chaos erupted. Steffi slammed her tablet onto the office. She's formerly stealing buyers. Ridge watched quietly, his casket tensing as Brooke filled the screen. Radiant, important, impregnable. She's inconceivable, Hope rumored. Eric goggled, stunned. So it begins. Ridge and Brooke, the battle. Ridge arrived unannounced at Brooke's new office the coming day. She stood at the window, arms folded. I knew you'd come, she said without turning. I had to see for myself, Ridge admitted. You've erected commodity amazing. She faced him, eyes blazing. You didn't stand up for me. I know. You let your father destroy my career. I was torn. You chose him, Brooke intruded. Just like always. Silence hung between them. I still love you, Ridge said still. Brooke laughed plaintively. Love isn't enough presently. He reached for her hand. She pulled down. From now on, she said, we're on contrary sides. Eric's regret. That night Eric stood alone on his deck, watching the megacity glow beneath the stars. He rumored, "What have I done?" For the first time, mistrustfulness consumed him. He'd recaptured his throne but lost peace, love and trust. And worse, he'd awakened a force far more dangerous than he ever anticipated. Brooke Logan was no longer fighting for survival. She was fighting for domination. Cliffhanger ending. As Brooke reviewed new contracts, her adjunct rushed by. "Brooke, you wouldn't believe this." "What?" Three of Forrester's biggest transnational buyers just inked exclusive deals with Logan Designs. Brooke's lips twisted into a triumphant smile. Let the war begin.